Project management provides structure towards managing specific resources within defined timelines in order to achieve a unique purpose, making project management a very important skill for security professionals to acquire, especially if you're a security professional holding a managerial role, because time and time again, you will find yourself spearheading or leading when it comes to security-related initiatives and projects within your organization. In this video, we're going to contextualize the application of project management in security risk management. How can security professionals leverage project management during the development and the implementation of the security risk management program? Welcome to Security Nuggets Podcast, the professional channel that focuses on security risk insights and perspectives for continuous learning purpose. And I'm your host, Ashley, a security risk consultant. And I'm always happy to see you joining me in these discussions. And without wasting any time, let's dive right into it. A project should typically consist of 5 phases. Phase 1 is the initiation and feasibility stage. Phase 2 is the planning and development stage. Phase 3 is the execution. Phase 4 is the controlling and monitoring stage. And phase 5 is the closeout stage. So what are the things that we expect to happen in the security risk management program context during this first phase of initiation and feasibility? This is what we expect, all right? We expect the need of a security risk management program initiative to be identified and a business case prepared and presented, all right? We are also expecting to conduct a case study by looking into the security functions, capabilities, and capacities to establish its performance, all right? We're also looking at some of the inherent challenges that are limiting its performance and making it less productive towards helping the organization achieve its visionary goals and objectives, all right? So in this stage, we can use tools like gap analysis tools. I want to bring back the SWOT analysis tool, which is my most preferred tool, especially when you're looking at attaining that strategic alignment with the organization when we're looking at the security function that is misaligned, right? What else are we doing in this first phase of initiation and feasibility? We are also benchmarking, okay? We are communicating with relevant stakeholders within the organization to gain and garner support and buy-in for the initiation of the security risk management program, all right? We are communicating the benefits of the security risk management program to the stakeholders so that they can buy into the idea, all right? Again, that falls under the initiation and the feasibility phase, all right? We are also presenting a roadmap, okay? Because when you're in this stage where you're evaluating the feasibility of the program, of the security risk management program, you've got to present a tentative roadmap. How would the program be developed and implemented? So we are also doing that in this stage, all right? We are estimating the budgetary allocations. We are estimating the timelines, which development and implementation of the program would take. We are projecting all these things so that we can have a rough idea and put all this in a roadmap that we get to present to leadership, all right? We can also call this a strategic plan, okay? We can call this our roadmap can be presented in form of a strategic plan. When you do the gap analysis of the security department to identify its inherent challenges, gaps, its competencies, capabilities, and capacities, you're able to finalize by developing a strategic plan out of the outcome of the data that you have collected, all right? you're able to provide a strategic plan, all right? You're able to write a strategic plan that can act as a roadmap when you're presenting this to leadership so that you can get authorization. Because again, authorization comes in this phase of initiation and feasibility, all right? If the security risk management program initiative doesn't sound viable to leadership, this is where it gets a no. This is where it doesn't proceed further. Okay? That is why this falls under feasibility. But if it turns out viable, if they are convinced, if you build up a business case and they are convinced that the security risk management program is a viable initiative, then they authorize, you get that green light to proceed with the development and the implementation of the program, okay? So in this first phase, it really requires for you as a security professional, because you're the person who's going to be spearheading this initiative, it really requires you to be very strategic, okay? This is what I mean. Don't jump the gun, okay? Don't jump the gun. By jumping the gun, I mean, don't be so quick to build your business case in isolation without involving other stakeholders who are relevant, okay? Communicate with them, benchmark with them, okay? Have those prior meetings and briefs with your leadership, with some of the business function heads, with some of the internal stakeholders, some of the personnel, some of the employees. Have those talks with them, have those briefings with them, get to understand, is this an initiative they would support? Would they believe in this initiative? Would they see the value? Would they be able to see things and resonate with things your way, from your point of view? Okay. So you definitely don't need to jump the gun. So do your benchmarking and communicate and do a lot of collaboration behind the scenes. Okay. Then when you're doing your gap analysis, okay, deploy the same approach. Involve other parties. Don't do the gap analysis by yourself. Involve other relevant stakeholders within the organization as well. Involve and build a team and do your gap analysis so that you can be able to come up with a strategic plan that acts as a roadmap and that can be presented to your leadership for that approval. Okay? Trust me, if you have done your benchmarking effectively, chances are the initiative to develop and implement the security risk management program is going to be authorized. You'll get the green light. But if you failed to garner the relevant support as the first thing you do, then your initiative will not be supported. Okay, and you will have to go back to the drawing board and see how you can now bring this back again, present this back again, all right? So the first stage is important, okay? Now, when you qualify from the first phase, now we get into the second phase of planning and developing, all right? Of course, we are assuming that the initiative has been approved. We've been given the green light to develop and implement the security risk management program, and we are now developing and planning, okay? So this is the stage where we form a security risk management program steering committee or team. Who are the people, which staff within the organization are going to be involved in the program, in designing the program, all right? And are we going to outsource external expertise? Is there a need for that? Sometimes there's need to outsource external expertise. You may need to outsource a consultant, or a consulting firm, for them to work for them to bring in their expertise and guide you accordingly, all right? Sometimes if you have the right competencies within the security department, then you can be able to design and develop the program by yourselves, of course, with other relevant key stakeholders, okay? So form a team, as the security professional spearheading the program, you're asking yourself, what value is every stakeholder bringing on board? When we are developing this initiative of the SRMP, what value is everybody bringing on board? How are their inputs relevant? How are their perspectives relevant to the program, okay? And then when you form a team or a committee, okay, then you go ahead and define how you're going to communicate amongst yourselves, okay? You outline the communication expectations. How are you going to be communicating as the SRMP steering committee or team amongst yourselves? Are you going to be communicating through phones, emails, or chats? Or are you going to be having weekly meetings? How are you going to be communicating? Because communication becomes very important for passing on important information and brainstorming and communicating progress. Because at the end of the day, again, you're gonna have to look at the defined timelines that you have put for yourself, and you want to make sure that whatever you're doing within the program is within the set timelines, okay, or time frames, okay. Again, this is where you also establish the timelines, okay. When do we want to conclude designing the program? When do we want to conclude implementing the program? Okay. And because the security risk management program entails a number of subsets within it, how is every subset going to be conducted, by who, and by what time are we looking at concluding with every subset moving forward? I mean, those are things you properly are able to plan and develop within this time. This is also where you get to design the security risk management framework. And then you can have those subsets underneath it. One of the important subsets under the security risk management framework is the development of the security risk management program policy. Okay, so in this phase of planning and development, this is where we do all those things, okay? It is also where we establish responsibilities. We allocate responsibilities, roles and responsibilities. Who gets to do what and when and how, all right? And why. You establish responsibilities and make less responsibilities very clear so that there is no overlapping of duties, all right? And once you've done the appropriate planning and development, okay, and the preparations, now you move forward to the other stage, the third stage of execution, all right? Now, in this third stage of execution, in the security risk management program context, this is now where we conduct the security risk assessment process, okay? This is where we conduct the SRA process, because ideally, this is where we get to identify those risks, we get to analyze those risks, we get to evaluate those risks, we get to come up with ideal treatment plans, all right? And then we go ahead and design those appropriate security controls, okay? So the execution phase is also very, very important. And when it comes to the security risk management context, it's a very technical phase, all right? It becomes a very technical phase because we are having a lot of technical processes that are going to be under the security risk assessment process. Okay. And after we do the execution, all right, we go to the next phase, the fourth phase of controlling and monitoring. Okay. In the security risk management program context, what exactly is expected of us here? We are expected to monitor and review how the security controls that we executed are performing. All right. How are they performing? Are they performing in accordance with our expectations? Yeah, are they reliable? All right. Do they have efficacy? You know, how are we tracking their performance? All right. You make sure that the appropriate recording and documentation is being done. We are monitoring how the security controls are performing, okay? And as much as we are using project management skills to enhance our development of the program and implementation so that we can do it in an organized and structured manner, all right? You've got to remember that the security risk management program is not a one-off initiative. We are not doing this project and concluding on it and moving on to the next thing. The security risk management is an ongoing process, okay? So when we're in this phase of monitoring and controlling, we've got to know that we are not monitoring and controlling to a certain point and then that's it. Depending on the understudy, all right, or the entity that is of focus, okay, within the program, okay, we need to know that it is highly likely that this is going to be a continuous process, okay? It's going to be a continuous process, unless you're talking of it being a one-off project or a one-off process or activity within an organization. But if this is an activity or process or project that is expected to be ongoing for a long, long time within the organization, then we've got to look at this phase as an ongoing phase or an ongoing stage, right? Similarly, when you get to the fifth phase of closeout, you've got to have that at the back of your mind as well. We are not going to be closing out the project in entirety, all right? Now, the designing bit of the program can be dissolved. You can dissolve the security risk management committee or team because ideally they've designed the program and the program now, by the time you're getting into the fifth phase, the program now, the security controls are working, they've been executed, and you have definitely come up with a plan that ensures that continuous monitoring and reviewing is in place and tracking is in place, okay? So you can dissolve the committee, okay? And you can discontinue an outsourced expert. If you had outsourced a consultant, okay, you can discontinue the service at this stage, okay? And they can hand over whatever they need to hand over to the committee, all right? But there's a lot that still needs to go on, all right? So the dynamic might slightly change as far as the committee is concerned and the team is concerned that designed the program. But when it comes to the implementation side of things, it takes a different dynamic and it is expected to be ongoing, right? So closeout may not be 100%, okay? We might close out on some things, whereas others remain ongoing, okay? All right, but you can see that there's a bit of correlation between project management and how you'd expect to develop and implement a security risk management program. All right. So it is important. It is important for security professionals to have project management skills. You need to acquire. If you don't have the skills already, kindly let the project management skills be skills that you are aspiring to have soon, okay? And there's many ways you can acquire them. You can do your courses online or you can do a course on site. You know, if you're near a learning institute that is providing a project management skill or certification, it is a bonus, all right? Because when you're heading the security function or when you're in management role, you are entrusted to manage or spearhead a lot of initiatives that are security related. Okay. You've got to be able to do them in an organized manner. Okay. Now, for instance, if you are poor in time management, you're going to fail in the implementation of the program because you are not going to be able to keep target timelines. You're not going to be able to follow up with the other team members or committee team members or committee or the steering committee teams to actually work towards the set target goals. All right. You're also going to struggle making follow-ups, and you're the person spearheading the program. So again, project management helps you fine-tune on your time management skills, on your people management skills, on your resource management skills. It makes you very organized. Okay. So it is definitely a skill that you require. Now, I do want to mention something, okay? This discussion of project management in context with security risk management program is actually a continuation of a sequel that we have been focusing on the topic of security risk management, okay? If you have missed out on some of those discussions, you can access a playlist that is in this channel titled Security Risk Management. Over the last 7 or so discussions, we have covered very critical discussions on the topic of security risk management. Okay? You will find a lot of value in those conversations. So find time and go watch and listen to them and assimilate the content there and get to elevate your security risk management application skills, all right? So that's it for this discussion. I want to thank you for keeping me company and engaging with me. If you like this discussion, kindly like and share. If you haven't subscribed, I'm requesting you to do so that you can keep up with our publications. Every time we release a new video discussion, you can be able to note it and engage with us moving forward, all right? So until our next discussion, thank you and goodbye.